The massive white hull of the UNS Nightingale gleamed under the artificial lights of Earth's orbital dock. Red crosses marked its sides, visible from every angle, a universal symbol of medical aid and neutrality. Inside the ship, Captain Samantha Wells stood at the command center, reviewing final preparations for their departure. "All medical supplies loaded and secured, Captain," reported Dr. Alan Brooks as he entered the bridge. His white coat contrasted with the navy blue of the ship's uniforms. "The experimental vaccines are in cryo storage. If they work, we could save millions on Centauri 4. Captain Wells nodded. "Good work, Doctor. This plague has already taken too many lives. We need to reach them quickly." She turned to face the main view screen, where Earth hung like a blue jewel against the darkness of space. 20 years of deep space missions had not diminished the beauty of that sight for her. The Nightingale was Earth's premier medical vessel, equipped with technology that many planets could only dream of possessing. Elsewhere on the ship, Nurse Peter Martinez recorded his personal log in his quarters. Day 1 of the Centauri mission. "The reports from the colony are bad. Some kind of pneumonia that their local doctors can't control. Half the colony is sick. I'm nervous, but Dr. Brooks seems confident our new treatments will help. This is why I joined the medical fleet, to make a difference." He closed his log and stared at the family photo on his desk. His first deep space mission would keep him away from home for at least 6 months. With a sigh, he grabbed his medical kit and headed to the briefing room. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Kelly Harper ran final diagnostics on the ship's drive systems. The Nightingale wasn't built for speed or combat. It was designed for stability and reliability. Its massive medical bays and research labs took up space that would normally house weapons systems on military vessels. "Engine efficiency at 98.8%, she called out to her team. "That'll have to do. Captain wants us ready for departure in 30 minutes. The ship hummed with activity as the crew of 200 prepared for launch. Most were medical personnel, doctors, nurses, researchers, and specialists in alien biology. The support crew handled everything else: engineers, security officers, communications specialists, and the ship's small command team. On the bridge, Communications Officer Lisa Garcia settled into her station. "Captain, we've received final clearance from Earth Command. Our flight path to Centauri 4 is approved. Estimated travel time is 11 days at standard speed." "Thank you, Officer Garcia," Wells replied. "Security status." Security Chief Greg Johnson stepped forward. "All systems nominal, Captain. Standard protocols in place. We're a medical vessel, so we're running with minimal security measures active." Wells nodded. Standard procedure for medical ships. They were protected by international treaties and their non-combat status. In the 300 years of human space travel, no one had ever deliberately attacked a clearly marked medical vessel. "All hands, prepare for departure," Wells announced over the ship-wide system. "Our mission is clear. Reach Centauri 4 and stop this plague. Every day counts. Let's make Earth proud." The Nightingale disengaged from the dock with gentle precision. Its engines glowed blue as it moved away from Earth, accelerating gradually until the planet was just another bright point among the stars. Unknown to the crew of the Nightingale, a sensor buoy at the edge of the solar system detected their departure. The buoy wasn't human technology. It transmitted a signal to a waiting ship hidden behind Jupiter's largest moon. The alien vessel recorded the Nightingale's trajectory and speed before sending its own message to a fleet waiting several systems away. On the command ship of that fleet, Commander Kreshtar of the Vordak Confederacy received the information with interest. The humans were moving into unprotected space. Their ship carried technology that could advance Vordak medical science by decades. The fact that it was designated as a medical vessel meant it would have minimal defenses. "Track them," he ordered his subordinates. "When they're far enough from Earth, we will take their ship and everything on it." The commander had no idea he was planning to attack representatives of a species from a world classified throughout the galaxy as a Deathworld. He was about to learn why that classification existed. 3 days into their journey to Centauri 4, the Nightingale moved smoothly through the emptiness of space. Most of the crew had settled into their routines. In the ship's main medical lab, Dr. Brooks and his team prepared equipment for the cases they would soon face. Lisa Garcia frowned at her communications console on the bridge. Strange signals had been appearing on her monitors for the past hour. They weren't like any normal space traffic she recognized. "Captain Wells," she called, "I'm picking up unusual transmissions. They don't match any Earth or Allied communication patterns." Captain Wells moved to stand behind Garcia's station. "Can you identify the source?" "No, Mom. They seem to be bouncing between multiple points, almost like they're trying to hide their origin." Wells pressed the internal comm button. "Security Chief Johnson to the bridge." Greg Johnson arrived minutes later. After examining the signals, his face grew serious. "This looks like encrypted tactical data, Captain. I recommend we go to alert status." "That seems excessive," Wells replied. "We're a medical vessel in neutral space. Just as a precaution, Mom." Wells nodded. "Very well. Alert status only. I don't want to worry the medical staff unnecessarily." As the ship's lighting shifted to a subtle amber glow, most crew members barely noticed. Alert status was common during deep space travel, usually just a drill or response to some space debris. In the medical wing, Nurse Martinez helped Dr. Brooks catalog vaccine samples. "What's with the alert status?" he asked. Dr. Brooks shrugged. "Probably just the captain being careful. Nothing to worry about." 2 hours later, Garcia straightened in her chair. "Captain, I'm receiving a distress signal. It's coming from the Lyra system, about 3 hours from our position at maximum speed." The message played through the bridge speakers. A panicked voice cut through static. "Medical emergency. Mining colony. Explosive decompression. Many injured. Need immediate assistance." Captain Wells looked troubled. "That's not on our route. Diverting would delay our arrival at Centauri 4. Dr. Brooks, who had come to the bridge after being notified, spoke up. "Captain, as medical professionals, we're bound to respond to emergencies when we can. The plague on Centauri 4 is serious, but these people need immediate help." Wells nodded slowly. "You're right. Communications, acknowledge the signal and inform them we're coming. Navigation, plot a course for the Lyra system." The Nightingale changed direction, its engines pushing to maximum safe speed. In the security center, Johnson increased scanner sensitivity and verified that weapon countermeasures were operational, despite their limited capacity. "Something doesn't feel right," he muttered to his deputy. 3 hours later, the Nightingale arrived at the coordinates from the distress call. There was no mining colony, no debris, no signs of any emergency. Instead, 7 ships appeared on the sensors, surrounding the Nightingale in a precise formation. Their designs were unfamiliar, angular, predatory vessels with weapons clearly visible on their hulls. "Battle stations," Wells ordered, though the medical ship had few defenses to activate. "Communications, hail them." Before Garcia could send a message, the main screen activated. An alien face appeared, reptilian with mottled gray skin and vertical pupils and yellow eyes. Sharp teeth showed when it spoke. "Human vessel. I am Commander Kreshtar of the Vordak Confederacy. Your ship is now property of our fleet. Prepare to be boarded." The bridge crew stared in shock. The Vordak were known only through distant reports. An expansionist species from beyond human space. "This is Captain Samantha Wells of the United Nations medical ship Nightingale. We are a non-combat vessel on a humanitarian mission. Attacking us violates interstellar law." Kreshtar made a sound that might have been laughter. "Laws only matter to those who acknowledge them. Human, your advanced technology will serve the Confederacy well." Wells stood tall. "We are carrying emergency medical supplies for a plague-stricken colony. Delaying us will cost innocent lives." The Vordak commander's eyes widened slightly. "Medical technology. Even better. Your ship's capabilities are now of greater interest to us. Johnson leaned close to Wells. The distress call was a trap. They lured us here deliberately. Wells nodded grimly. And now we're surrounded by 7 warships with nowhere to run. Kreshtar's voice cut through their whispered conversation. You have 1 hour to prepare for boarding. Resistance would be pointless for a medical vessel against our warships. Captain Wells looked around at her crew, determination in her eyes. Get everyone to the main medical bay for an emergency briefing. We may be doctors and nurses, but we're still humans. And they have no idea what that means. The main medical bay of the Nightingale buzzed with nervous energy as the entire crew gathered. Captain Wells stood on a platform, her face serious but calm. 200 pairs of eyes looked to her for guidance. As you all know, we've been surrounded by Vordak warships, she began. They intend to board us in less than an hour. They want our medical technology and supplies. Worried whispers spread through the crowd. I've already sent an emergency signal to Earth, Wells continued, but help would take days to arrive. We need to handle this ourselves. Dr. Brooks stepped forward. Captain, maybe we can negotiate. Explain the importance of our mission to Centauri 4. I've tried, Doctor. The Vordak commander seemed more interested when he learned we were a medical ship. Our technology is their primary target. Engineer Kelly Harper raised her hand. The Vordak are technologically advanced, but their medical science lags behind ours. They probably want to reverse engineer our equipment. Security Chief Johnson nodded. Intelligence reports suggest they've been trying to advance their medical capabilities for years. Captain Wells looked at the countdown timer on the wall. 52 minutes remain before the Vordak would attempt to board. I need to be clear, she said. We are not a warship. We don't have the weapons or shields to fight off 7 warships, but we cannot allow them to take our supplies when thousands are dying on Centauri 4. Nurse Martinez spoke up. What about giving them some older medical tech? A compromise. The Vordak don't compromise, Johnson replied. They take what they want by force. That's their way. Wells nodded. He's right, and I won't give them anything that could help them conquer other worlds. She tapped her tablet, and a ship schematic appeared on the large screen behind her. We need to buy time. If Earth receives our distress call, they'll send help. But we need to hold out until then. Garcia from Communications raised a concern. They're jamming our long-range signals, Captain. I can't confirm if our distress call got through. The mood in the room darkened further. Captain Wells remained composed. Then we work with what we have. This is what we're going to do. For the next 20 minutes, she laid out her plan. The medical staff listened intently, many looking doubtful, but no one objected. As the crew dispersed to their assigned tasks, Captain Wells called her command staff to stay behind. I need to contact the Vordak commander again, she told them. Buy us more time if possible. On the main screen, Kreshtar's reptilian face appeared, yellow eyes narrowed with suspicion. Have you prepared for boarding, human? He demanded. Commander Kreshtar, Wells began, her voice steady. I request more time to organize our medical supplies. Some are fragile and need special handling. The alien commander hissed. You stall for time. No, Commander. I'm trying to preserve valuable medical technology. Technology I might be willing to share. Kreshtar's scaled head tilted slightly. Explain. We have certain medical devices that could benefit your people. Instead of taking everything and risking damage, I propose a limited exchange. Dr. Brooks watched tensely from beside the captain. He knew she was lying, creating a distraction. Your offer is noted, Kreshtar said after a pause. But unnecessary. We will take everything we need. Wells tried again. Commander, surely you understand that medical knowledge requires proper context. My staff could show your people how to use. Enough, Kreshtar interrupted. Your deception is transparent. You now have 30 minutes, not 1 hour. Prepare or face consequences. The screen went black. Johnson sighed. Well, we tried. No, said Captain Wells. We succeeded. We needed him angry and impatient. Rushed orders make mistakes. She turned to her officers. While I was talking, did you complete the emergency protocols? Engineer Harper nodded. Yes, Captain. Systems are ready per your instructions. Good, Wells said. Dr. Brooks, is your team prepared? The doctor nodded grimly. Medical Bay 2 has been converted as you requested. It's not pretty, but it should work. Excellent. Wells looked around at her command staff. The Vordak think we're just doctors and nurses. They expect us to surrender without a fight. She smiled, but there was no humor in it. Let's show them what happens when you corner humans from Earth. Throughout the ship, the crew worked with grim determination. They were healers by training and choice, but they were also humans, descendants of the most adaptable predators on a world classified as one of the most dangerous in known space. The Nightingale hummed with activity as the crew transformed their medical ship into something the Vordak would never expect. In Medical Bay 2, Dr. Brooks supervised as his team worked quickly and efficiently. Careful with that laser scalpel assembly, he warned a young doctor. Once Engineer Harper modifies it, it won't be cutting tissue anymore. Across the room, Kelly Harper knelt beside an open panel, her fingers moving with precision as she rewired a surgical laser. These are designed to cut with microscopic accuracy, she explained to the nurses watching her. I'm removing the safety limiters and increasing power output. Won't that make them dangerous? Asked a nervous nurse. Harper smiled grimly. That's the point. In another section of the ship, Security Chief Johnson instructed a group of medical staff. None had combat training, but all were quick learners. Hold the improvised weapon like this, he demonstrated. Remember, we're not trying to kill them if we can avoid it. Aim for joints and sensitive areas. The medical staff practiced the moves he showed them. Their faces showed determination despite their fear. Nurse Martinez led another team converting ordinary medical supplies into traps. These pressure sensors normally monitor patient vital signs, he explained. Now they'll trigger when stepped on. He connected the sensor to a canister. And this anesthetic gas normally helps patients sleep during surgery. In higher concentrations, it should knock out a Vordak in seconds. Captain Wells moved from group to group, encouraging her crew. Many were scared, but none had given up. The captain finally made her way to communications, where Lisa Garcia worked frantically. Any luck breaking through their jamming? Wells asked. Garcia shook her head. Not yet, but I set up a narrowband pulse that might slip through. If a patrol ship passes within range, they might detect it. Keep trying, Wells said. Even if we can hold them off, we'll eventually need backup. In the ship's kitchen, the cooking staff prepared special surprises. They mixed chemicals from cleaning supplies that, while harmless separately, would create blinding smoke when combined. The Vordak have sensitive eyes, the head cook explained. This won't hurt them permanently, but it will give us an advantage. 20 minutes into their preparations, Engineer Harper called the captain to the engine room. I got something to show you, she said, pointing to a large medical machine now connected to the ship's power systems. Is that the MRI unit? Wells asked, surprised. Harper nodded. I've modified it to project its magnetic field outside the ship. If the Vordak have any metal in their boarding craft or equipment, it could disrupt their approach. Will it work? In theory. We've never used an MRI this way before. Wells placed a hand on Harper's shoulder. Good work. Every advantage helps. As the deadline approached, Captain Wells gathered her command staff on the bridge for final instructions. We have 5 minutes before they attempt to board, she said. Everyone clear on the plan. Dr. Brooks nodded. Medical teams are in position. We've converted 3 of the recovery rooms into safe zones for any injured crew. Engineering is ready, Harper added. Emergency systems are on standby, and I've rerouted power to support our modifications. Johnson checked his tablet. Security teams are in place. The crew is as prepared as they can be, given the circumstances. Communications, Wells asked. Still jammed, Garcia replied. "But I'll keep trying." Wells looked at each of them. "Remember, we're not soldiers. Our goal isn't to defeat the Vordak, just to hold them off long enough for help to arrive." The ship's sensors beeped a warning. Several small craft had launched from the Vordak vessels and were approaching the Nightingale. "They're coming," Johnson announced unnecessarily. Captain Wells straightened her uniform. "To your positions, everyone. And remember, they may be warriors, but we're humans. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. Our ancestors survived ice ages, predators, and disease. We're the descendants of the ones who lived." As her officers hurried to their stations, Wells allowed herself one small smile. The Vordak were about to learn a very painful lesson about the species they had trapped. The first impact shuddered through the hull as a boarding pod attached itself to the outer airlock. The fight for the Nightingale was about to begin. The outer airlock of the Nightingale burst open with a hiss of escaping air. 6 Vordak soldiers in sleek armor poured into the entry chamber. Their weapons were raised, and their yellow eyes scanned for threats. Finding none, they moved forward cautiously. "No resistance," the lead soldier reported through his communicator. Proceeding to main corridor. On the bridge, Captain Wells watched through security feeds. "They're in," she said calmly. "Harper, are you ready?" "Ready, Captain," the engineer replied from her position near the modified MRI controls. The Vordak reached the inner airlock door. They placed a small device against it, which quickly bypassed the lock. The doors slid open, and they entered the main corridor of the ship. "Now," ordered Wells. Harper activated the modified MRI machine. A powerful magnetic pulse swept through the corridor. The Vordak's weapons and parts of their armor contained metal components, which suddenly pulled toward the walls with tremendous force. 2 soldiers were slammed against the bulkhead, their weapons torn from their hands. "What is this?" one shouted in confusion. The remaining 4 continued forward, now on high alert. They reached the first junction where the corridor split in 3 directions. "Team 1, go left. Team 2, right. I'll take center," ordered their leader. As the first team turned left, they triggered one of Nurse Martinez's traps. Pressure sensors in the floor released anesthetic gas from hidden canisters. The 2 Vordak staggered and fell unconscious before they could warn the others. In the right corridor, the second team encountered a group of medical staff who appeared to be hiding. The aliens approached confidently. "Surrender, humans," one demanded. Instead, the medical staff raised modified laser scalpels. Beams of concentrated light shot forth, not deadly but intense enough to burn through the Vordak's armor at the joints, where Harper had told them the armor would be weakest. The aliens howled in pain and surprise. They hadn't expected medical personnel to fight back, let alone with effective weapons. In the central corridor, the Vordak leader heard the commotion from both teams. He tried to call for backup but received no response. The humans had somehow blocked their communications. Suddenly, Chef Paul and his kitchen staff appeared at the end of the hallway. They threw containers that broke open at the Vordak leader's feet. Chemicals mixed and created thick, acrid smoke. The Vordak's sensitive eyes burned and watered. He fired blindly down the corridor, but the humans had already taken cover. Security Chief Johnson led a counterattack from a side passage. He and 3 crew members tackled the blinded Vordak commander. The alien was stronger than a human, but outnumbered and disoriented. After a brief struggle, they subdued him. On the bridge, Captain Wells received updates from throughout the ship. "Status report," she demanded. 2 Vordak unconscious from anesthetic gas, came Martinez's reply. "We're securing them now." 2 more injured but contained, reported Dr. Brooks. "We've got them in quarantine room 3. Commander captured," Johnson confirmed. "Bringing him to the bridge now." Wells nodded with satisfaction. "And our casualties?" 3 crew with minor injuries, Dr. Brooks responded. "Burns and bruises. Nothing serious." Across the ship, the crew of the Nightingale had successfully repelled the first boarding party. Medical staff treated the injured, both human and Vordak. Despite being attacked, they wouldn't neglect their oath to provide medical care. In the entry chamber, a second boarding pod attached to the outer airlock. More Vordak were coming. They're sending another team, Garcia warned from her station. Wells wasn't surprised. They underestimated us the first time. They won't make that mistake again. The security feed showed the airlock cycling. This time, 12 Vordak soldiers prepared to enter. All teams back to defensive positions. Wells ordered over the ship's comm system. Round 2 is coming. As Johnson arrived on the bridge with the captured Vordak commander, Wells studied the alien with interest. The commander's yellow eyes glared back at her with a mixture of pain and shock. "You fight," the Vordak said in halting English. "Medical ships do not fight." Wells stepped closer to him. "Human medical ships do when attacked. That was your first mistake. Let's see if your soldiers learn faster than you did." Throughout the Nightingale, the crew readied themselves again. The doctors and nurses, healers by profession, stood firm, prepared to defend their ship, their mission, and each other from the next wave of boarders. The second wave of Vordak soldiers moved through the ship with greater caution. Learning from the first team's mistakes, they wore modified helmets to protect their sensitive eyes and carried detection equipment to spot traps. "They're adapting," Security Chief Johnson observed on the bridge. "Our previous tricks won't work as well." Captain Wells nodded. "We expected that." "Dr. Brooks, are you ready with Phase 2? "Yes, Captain." The doctor's voice came over the comm. "Just give the word." On the main screen, they watched as 12 Vordak spread through the corridors in tight formation. These soldiers moved differently, more professional, more dangerous. "They sent their elite troops this time," Johnson said. The captured Vordak commander made a hissing sound that might have been laughter. "You cannot win. These are veteran warriors, not common soldiers." Wells ignored him. "All teams, fall back to secondary positions. Initiate Phase 2. Throughout the ship, the human crew retreated according to plan, drawing the Vordak deeper into the vessel. The aliens followed carefully, suspecting a trap but confident in their superior numbers and training. In Medical Bay 3, Dr. Brooks and his team worked frantically. Using their knowledge of alien physiology, they had created something new. "Is it ready?" Brooks asked a researcher. "Yes, Doctor. Based on what we know about Vordak biology, this should work." Brooks picked up a small device that resembled a medical inhaler. "Release it into the ventilation system on my mark." The Vordak reached the central area of the ship where many corridors met. They paused, sensing something wrong. "The humans are too quiet," their leader said. "Scan for life signs." One soldier checked a handheld device. "Many readings nearby, Commander. They appear to be gathered in larger rooms. They're hiding. Split into 3 teams. Find them." As the Vordak separated, Dr. Brooks gave the signal. Now, throughout the ship's ventilation system, a fine mist was released. The particles were designed to target specific receptors in Vordak nervous systems, not lethal, but disorienting. The effect wasn't immediate. The first sign that something was wrong came when a Vordak soldier stumbled, his movements becoming uncoordinated. "What's happening?" He slurred, reaching for support. More soldiers began to show symptoms. Their reactions slowed. Some had trouble maintaining balance. On the bridge, Wells watched with satisfaction. "It's working." The captured commander stared at the screen in confusion. "What have you done to my soldiers?" "Nothing permanent," Wells assured him. "Just something to even the odds." While the Vordak struggled with the effects of Brooks' compound, Kelly Harper activated another surprise. Throughout the ship, specific frequencies began to play through the communication system. To human ears, it sounded like a low hum. To the Vordak, whose hearing range was different, it was intensely uncomfortable. Many of the alien soldiers clapped their hands over their helmet audio receivers, disoriented by the combination of sound and Dr. Brooks' compound. This was the moment the humans had been waiting for. Led by Johnson, Teams of crew members emerged from hiding places, armed with their improvised weapons and protecting themselves with makeshift shields. They surrounded the confused Vordak groups. "Surrender," Johnson demanded of the nearest team. The Vordak tried to aim their weapons, but their coordination was too impaired. After a brief and clumsy resistance, most dropped their weapons. Not all Vordak gave up so easily. The most experienced soldiers fought through the effects, relying on training and instinct. One group of 4 made their way toward the main medical storage area, determined to complete their mission. Nurse Martinez and 6 other medical staff stood in their way. The Vordak opened fire, forcing the humans to take cover behind overturned medical equipment. "We need backup," Martinez called through his comm unit. Captain Wells' voice replied, "Hold position. Help is coming." The Vordak advanced on Martinez's position, fighting through their disorientation with sheer determination. They were within meters of the valuable medical supplies they had come to steal. Suddenly, the lights in the corridor went out. In the darkness, something moved, fast and silent. The Vordak fired blindly. When emergency lighting activated 30 seconds later, all 4 Vordak were on the ground, unconscious. Captain Wells stood over them, breathing heavily, a modified medical tool in her hand. "Is everyone all right?" she asked Martinez and his team. They nodded, staring at her with new respect. The captain's combat skills had been unexpected. Throughout the ship, the second boarding party was subdued. Some Vordak had surrendered, others had been forcibly contained. The humans had prevailed again, though not without cost. Several crew members had suffered injuries, some serious. In the Vordak command ship, Commander Kreshtar received the news of the second failed boarding with shock and rage. The humans had defeated his elite troops using nothing but medical equipment and improvised weapons. "Impossible," he hissed. "They are healers, not warriors." His second-in-command stepped forward cautiously. "Commander, our intelligence may have been flawed. These humans, they are not like other species we have encountered." Kreshtar's yellow eyes narrowed dangerously. "Then we will not board again. If we cannot take their ship intact, we will destroy it and be done with this." He turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare all ships to fire. Target their engines first, then life support. I want no survivors to tell this tale." On the bridge of the Nightingale, alarm klaxons blared as sensors detected weapons charging on all 7 Vordak ships. "They're targeting our engines and life support systems," Garcia reported, her voice steady despite the danger. Captain Wells turned to the captured Vordak commander. "Tell your leader to stand down. This has gone far enough." The alien's yellow eyes narrowed. "It is too late. Kreshtar has chosen destruction. It is our way when we cannot claim victory." Wells looked at her bridge crew. "Options. Our shields won't hold against 7 warships," Johnson said grimly. "We could try to run," Harper suggested. "The engines are still at full capacity. They'd catch us before we reached jump distance," Garcia countered. Dr. Brooks, who had joined them on the bridge, spoke up. "What about the captured Vordak? We have wounded prisoners who need medical attention." "Kreshtar does not care," the Vordak commander said flatly. "Failed warriors are not worth saving." Wells stared at the alien for a long moment. "That's where we differ. On the Nightingale, everyone is worth saving." She turned to Brooks. "Treat the wounded Vordak. Show them what human medicine can do." To Garcia, she said, "Keep trying to break through the jamming. Send our coordinates and situation on all emergency channels." "Yes, Captain," Garcia replied, turning back to her console with renewed determination. The seconds ticked by. On the main screen, they could see the Vordak weapons powering up to maximum. The captured commander watched with growing confusion. "Why treat our wounded when you will all be dead soon?" "Because that's what we do," Dr. Brooks answered simply. "We're healers." Suddenly, Garcia straightened in her chair. "Captain, I'm detecting a new signal. It's..." Before she could finish, space seemed to tear open behind the Vordak fleet. A massive ship emerged from jump space, its hull bearing the insignia of Earth's Defense Force. "It's the UNSS Defender," Garcia exclaimed. "They received our distress call." The Earth warship dwarfed even the largest Vordak vessel. Before the alien fleet could react, the Defender launched a barrage of warning shots that passed harmlessly between the Vordak ships. A booming voice echoed through all communication channels. "This is Captain Frank Butler of the Earth Defense Vessel Defender. You are threatening a neutral medical ship in violation of interstellar law. Stand down immediately or face consequences." On the Vordak command ship, Kreshtar hissed in rage and fear. His sensors showed the Defender's weapon systems were far more advanced than his own. "Retreat," he ordered reluctantly. "All ships, prepare to jump." But as his fleet began to turn, tractor beams shot out from the Defender, locking onto his command ship. "Not so fast," Captain Butler's voice came again. "Your ship will remain here to answer for this attack. The rest may leave." The remaining 6 Vordak ships hesitated, then jumped away, abandoning their commander. In the following hours, the Defender's security team boarded Kreshtar's ship and took him into custody. A team of Earth diplomats arrived to handle the political implications of the encounter. On the Nightingale, Captain Wells met with Captain Butler in the main conference room. "Your timing was perfect," she told him with a tired smile. Butler shook his head in amazement. "Your crew held off 2 waves of Vordak boarding parties using medical equipment. That's going in the history books." In the medical bay, Dr. Brooks continued treating injured Vordak soldiers. Many watched in confusion as the human doctor tended their wounds with the same care he showed his own crew. One Vordak, his arm freshly healed by regeneration therapy, asked quietly, "Why help us after we tried to kill you?" Brooks paused his work. "Because medicine isn't just about healing bodies. It's about showing a better way forward." 3 days later, the Nightingale resumed its journey to Centauri 4, its mission only slightly delayed. The Defender escorted them to their destination, ensuring no further attacks. In the months that followed, the incident became a turning point in human-Vordak relations. Kreshtar faced justice for his actions, but more importantly, the wounded Vordak returned to their people with stories of human medicine and compassion.